So funny how different what my son does than what I do. I still got a couple minutes.
Are you happy to be sitting back there rather than here?
No.
I miss you already.
I'm okay with you over there. I'd rather admire you from afar.
I'm leaving. I don't have to be here for anything, right? No, good.
Yeah, I only do it in case of emergency. When do you think the last time there was like real work? I mean, you know, in a pinch.
Yeah, either that or it's going to be, we'll have to be here for a while.
Sip your little ginger.
Wait, I hate doing everything.
Quiet. Well, that's what I mean.
Maybe he's not here.
Well, it's I can't tell. Really.
Alright, we'll do city development and planning until he gets here. Sure. No, I think we're fine. Okay, I'm going to get started here, so you'll. All right. I'm going to call city development. Oh, never know, I'm not either. Here comes the mayor.
Usually the SURA meeting's over by now.
Call to order, Schenectady Urban Renewal Agency. Just items to accept the minutes of our last meeting.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
To adopt the budget.
Okay, the budget is on the back of your packet there. This is for proposed 2014 and 2015 through 17. There's no budget numbers in there for 16 and 2017. For 2014, the proposed sale of property is $56,123. That is a projection based off of the number at the bottom, which is reimbursements to City of Schenectady, $46,123. When SURA owns property and it burns, the city pays for the or it needs to be demolished, the city pays for the demolition and bills that as a receivable. Right now, SURA owes the city $46,123. As SURA sells property back to the city and the city sells it, the amount that they sell it for is just reduced from that amount, and then it goes back into the demolition budget. It's an accounting procedure. The additional $10,000 is proposed anticipated sale of an additional piece of property, and that will require an appraisal, which is $500. In 2015, I'm anticipating sale of $40,000, which is not counting any offsets to for demolitions. That's just a sale of possibly Barrett Street, if that doesn't happen in 2014, with the associated appraisal. If you jump back to 2013 for actuals, the only note there I just want to make is that other operating revenues we've received $1,624. That's a garnishment from the person that started the fire at Luigi's, which we're still paying off to the city. So we've received that, and I have it offset at the bottom. We will reimburse that in actual cash back to the city.
Any questions? Can I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second. Porterfield, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Budget's adopted, 7 ayes, 1 absent. Any other business come before the agency? Entertain a motion to
On your item there, if you could call for a meeting next week, just to this is a regularly scheduled meeting. Next week we'll have a special meeting to dispose of 2 properties to the city. Just wanted to put that on record.
be the highlight of everybody's day.
I'm sure it will.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Stand adjourned.
Should we call finance? Call finance committee to order. And first item, only item, another budget.
How about that?
We're not out budgeted by now. Okay, so DSAD 2014 budget, Mr. Salengo. Hey, host.
Good evening, everybody. You should have in your packet a couple pages that were sent to you for the 2014. The top page is again, the portion for the Downtown Special Assessment District. That's the portion of our budget that we are asking for your consideration and approval on. As you can see, for 2014, we are requesting a flat assessment year over year of $220,000. And as you can see also, with a slight reduction in our overall programming costs for 2014 over 2013, we're also proposing in our base participation fee a slight reduction from $265 down to $260 participation fee, which is the base minimum fee that anyone would pay as part of a special assessment district. So in essence, what that means is that the vast majority of the property owners within the DSAD for 2014 will see some level of reduction in their assessment for 2014. I think between factor changes in the district, increased square footage with some new properties coming in, increased frontage, and the reduction in the participation fee, it's somewhere around, I think it's just about 95% or so of the properties in the district will see some level of reduction in 2014. And then on the second page is just the overall DSIC budget, and you can just see where the DSAD portion of our revenue fits into the overall DSIC budget on the second page. So that's in a nutshell. If you have any questions.
Yeah, let's have it. No, I think it's great. You have $5 reduction for a lot of the fees. Is there any? I know that's the majority. Are there any of them that will see an increase?
The only ones that are going to see an increase are going to be properties that actually see factor changes. Like, for instance, there's like the College Suites at Washington Square down there. I mean, it's coming online, so it's going to see. Or if there's a property that came online this year that had frontage in 2013, but because it's now complete, they add the gross floor area into it. So it would be only properties that are actually seeing
under construction of something.
Yeah, factor changes. And then there's a few, primarily in the the center of the district around Proctor's, that main area, that we'll see some level of increase. But I literally think it's like a handful of properties, maybe a half a dozen, that see somewhere from like 4 cents to like 74 cents, but then everybody else is going to see some level of reduction.
So no one's getting like a $20 increase or something like that unless they're doing construction that changes.
Yeah, unless, again, it has to do with just the building is coming online.
Great. Thank you. Sounds good. And with that, you're still going to maintain the same quality of services
Yes.
and everything else? Beautiful.
Same work plan. Well, it's always a living, breathing document, but the same level, the variety of services.
Any other questions?
The only thing that jumps out at me is the landscaping flowers, and we reduced the budget by 1/3. I assume maybe a new supplier, but we're still going to have the same beautiful
Oh, yeah,
flowers.
absolutely. Actually, that's just a factor of actual changes within the district. If you notice, when we have a street like Erie Boulevard under construction, we weren't able to put up flowers on Erie during the construction. So, we could shift that money or, just take those off for a year. For next year, we're anticipating putting some flowers on Erie, but with construction happening on Lower State. So, I mean, there's changes. It's just how things are changing. And then there's another factor that last year, with our street planters, we put in some permanent plants, some spirea so we only actually have to replace some of the decorative flowers around there. So we just try to be a little bit more effective and have flowers that lasted more than one season.
Well,
So,
the hanging baskets were just absolutely gorgeous last year.
yeah, this was a good year.
It was
Thank
really
you.
very beautiful.
Thank you.
Good job.
Any questions?
Jim, do the stakeholders get a copy of this before the public hearing of the budget?
Well, It is, I mean, it's available if anybody wants to see it. I know it is up on the city website for...
The city website?
Yeah, it was up there, listed with the agenda for tonight. That's up there for anybody to look at. And if anybody has any interest or any questions about it, they can call me. I'll be happy to share it, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about it as well.
Okay. But it's available on the website. That's because somebody asked me about that. It's available on the city website. Okay.
Any other questions?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving?
Aye.
You're approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's anything else to come before finance?
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
Any question? Okay, vote we adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Or adjourned?
All right, I'll call to order City Development and Planning. First item is a ceremonial resolution for Sondra's Fine Jewelry.
Yes, I thought it was Sondra's 15th anniversary. It's actually her 16th anniversary, which makes her no less worthy. But, you know, just a wonderful business, beautiful landscaping, beautifully kept business, and so much community involvement and philanthropic, you know, addition to our city. I think it would be nice to honor them.
I would agree.
So I will be happy to move it.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, recognizing Small Business Saturday 2013. Mr. Salengo, did you want to comment on that, or just...
I had been notified by the city that there is an interest in doing a proclamation for Small Business Saturday, which this year is November 30th. Just asked to say a few words about that. I mean, obviously in downtown and in other parts of the city, obviously there are so many hardworking, small, independent business owners. It's one of the real prides that we have. One of the real benefits of downtown are those business owners that work hard. You get a unique product, you get one-on-one customer service, and it's. I think there's an actual term I used in some article I wrote this year was bypass the mall and think small, or something like that, because it really, really is important that folks understand the unique things that we have in downtown, Upper Union Street, you know, other areas of the district. So I just wanted to say a few words in support of that, and also just say that once again this year, coming up for Small Business Saturday, for the last several years, we've been working with businesses on some promotions to help people think about shopping locally during the holidays. So we'll be launching our Holiday Shopping Pass program for the 4th year in a row. And we'll encourage people to spend some dollars at downtown businesses, fill up their cards, and then they can turn those in. I think last year we got about close to $47,000 worth of value of those cards returned, which was really great to see. We hope we can get more than that this year. We'll also be doing our holiday window shopping, or holiday window display contest this year, so people can actually come down when they shop, check out windows, vote for their favorite. We'll have some jury contest as well. So just to drum up that interest in small businesses around the holidays. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Happy to move it.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And another ceremonial resolution recognizing American-Made Matters Day. Nancy Galt is here.
Well, Tough Traveler is an American manufacturer, and we're a member of this group that is sponsoring. And actually, they've just gotten all of Pennsylvania has declared November 19th American-Made Matters Day, and we're hoping that Schenectady might do it too. And it's a good group, and they want to encourage U.S. manufacturing, which we do too. So we hope people will see the value of it, and it would be great if Schenectady could go along. I think it might be part of sort of a little bit of a growing trend, so I'm hoping that go along with it.
Happy to move it.
Okay, moved. Second by Ms. Porterfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. And the grant Metroplex Authority for additional property, Mr. Polster.
You have in your package a resolution that was passed last year, and this is essentially an identical situation with the work that was done pursuant to the resolution that is in your package. There has been found additional work that needs to be done, and this just gives Metroplex the authority on our behalf to amend the application to obtain money for the work on this additional area of land. And through the efforts of Metroplex, working with DEC on the work that has been done, as it stands right now, this will be funded 100% by DEC with no cost to the city. So it's essentially going to be changing the dates and so on in that one resolution.
Questions, comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, Ms. Porterfield moves it. Second,
it.
Ms. Perazzo. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, if there's nothing else to come before City Development Planning, I'll entertain a motion.
Could
Mr.
we
Polster.
just recess to go
Okay.
into a very short executive session on
Two properties. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to recess this
So
meeting.
moved.
Okay, second by Ms. Porterfield. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, I'll call to order government operations. First on the list is employee drug testing following accidents. Mr. Olsen?
We have a couple of different procedures in place regarding post-accident procedures following accidents in the city. One, there's a mandate from the DOT that CDL drivers, any organization that employs more than 50 CDL drivers, has a mandate to both randomly drug test those individuals and do post-accident drug testing, provided certain conditions are met. With post-accident, if either vehicle or any vehicle involved in the accident has to be towed from the scene, or if anyone involved in the accident has to be transported to a hospital by ambulance, it's automatically triggered. In addition to that, every accident that occurs, a police officer is called to the scene. They do a police report, and that police officer has the right, as they do in any motor vehicle accident, to determine reasonable cause if they feel as if anyone involved is under the influence of any substance. So that's the way it's handled.
And that's just for CDL drivers.
That is CDL drivers as far as the post-accident with the ambulatory or the tow truck type. But with anyone, the police are called to the scene and have the opportunity to be able to determine whether or not reasonable cause exists for them to pursue that under criminal statute. I would think how would be worded. Correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner. That's your department.
Well, that's accurate. You know, it'd be like any other citizen. Police response based upon an investigation, your observations, that type of thing. And it's a level of steps, you know, to the point where they could, you know, request you participate in a screening device, and also, if warranted, obviously they'll take you into custody and then advise you that you're going to be requested to take a breathalyzer test, which of course you can refuse. You can refuse the testing through the screening, and you can also refuse the breathalyzer, both of which will result in an automatic loss of your license and of course further proceedings down the line in the court. For the police and fire department, it's slightly different. We don't have any CDL involvement here at all. Both the fire and police contracts post-accident under two circumstances can order an employee for both drug and alcohol testing. That would be property damage of $5,000 or more, or personal injury or death involved in the case. Those trigger through the contract language an automatic requirement to go to Ellis and have both tests performed. Obviously, within the police department, we also, and in the fire department, for non-accident cases, if you have reasonable suspicion of two supervisors that the employee is in fact under the influence, that again would trigger an automatic order to go to Ellis to get both of the examinations done. And of course, even with police officers, should there be a case of obvious influence, the supervisor will have the authority to make the arrest after discussion with the police chief. So it's a little different than Carl's people, only because he has the CDL language of the federal and state government.
We have the same protocol with reasonable suspicion, two supervisors. So any employee, there doesn't have to be an accident. Any employee that you can place into that category of reasonable cause.
You're showing up for work, two supervisors feel they're under the influence, they can trigger that exam.
Does that have to be immediate supervisors, or could it be 2 levels up? I mean, you're a supervisor, kind of 3 layers down, so any
two
supervisor.
supervisors. Realistically, I'm sure there'll be an assistant chief involved,
Right.
but it can be any 2 supervisory personnel.
Okay. Is any of this a change from what we're currently doing, or just more of an update of what our policy is and what we've been doing?
This has been the policy in the city for a number of years, since the DOT. We always did the reasonable cause, but since DOT's requirements, it adds the other layer as well.
Okay.
Other questions?
One of the reasons that, the discussion came up is because of our, our insurance rates went up because of the number of accidents. So is there any reason that we just don't test everyone, not the police says so, I mean, just because the accident happens, because there are organizations that do that. The minute there's any type of accident, whether it be in-house, if you're driving a forklift, whatever, in the property, or if it's outside, the minute there's an accident.
Anything beyond the circumstances that I have explained, and also Carl, is a mandatory subject of negotiation.
So that would have to be negotiated in the contract?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because
That's not uncommon in the labor area either.
the last time we discussed it, Mr. Salomon said he was going to be looking into that particular part of it for us.
So I certainly invite him to look into it, but the reality of the situation is the union, this involves disciplinary action, and because it's disciplinary action, until we win our lawsuit in the police department, it's negotiable.
And the same goes for the union?
Yeah, any union members that would be considered a mandatory subject of negotiation. We even had to negotiate the disciplinary clause associated with the DOT requirement, which is a mandate. So that had to be negotiated.
Yes, Mr. Erickson.
So I think one of the things as we go through and negotiate these contracts, Mr. Mayor, one of the things maybe we want to keep in mind, I know that a lot of private employers require you to report, even in your personal life, if you have an accident, you need to report that to your employer if you drive a vehicle for your employer. And so, it's something along those lines. I mean, clearly, if you're under the influence, you could have it's more timing and luck sometimes, but if you have an accident in your personal vehicle, you should report it to the city or your employer, and that might be grounds for, multiple accidents in a close period of time, things like that. Because that seems like what we maybe had. It wasn't, $5,000 worth of damage, but 2 fender benders or 3 fender benders in the course of 6 months. A lot of people might say, hey, that's a reason to maybe test this person. Maybe an eye test is in order too, but maybe that's something we can include in our negotiations as we open up each of these things going forward. Maybe not be in the forefront of what we're thinking about. A lot of times we're talking about dollars and cents, but this is a liability issue that maybe we should consider interjecting in that negotiation.
Private industry has the luxury of not having to comply with the New York State tail law. Therein lies.
It's a problem, yes.
Right.
Thanks.
Other questions or discussion?
So the mandatory drug testing then is really, not really mandatory then, it's more selective?
No, the DOT requirement is you have random drug testing for all of your CDL operators.
Right.
And you have to test a certain percentage of them, and I think it's half, 50%, but Kathy Finch can give you the exact number that she administers those that are done randomly. In addition to that, there's post-accident that is required, again,
Right.
if those criteria are met. In addition to that, you always have the right for reasonable cause, whether that be a police officer or a supervisor at the scene of the accident, or no accident occurs at all, somebody comes to work and they appear intoxicated or they appear under the influence. You 2 supervisors make that observation. You can require that individual go and be tested, which we have done on occasions. We've had to do that.
And in the police department, you're subject to random drug testing and alcohol testing. That's done by a computer-generated selection of the names, which is done by Occupational Health at Ellis. They will notify my office or the chief of the individuals that have been selected by computer randomly. They are then notified. We immediately take them up there. There's no waiting, and get the test done. They're all subject to random selection throughout the year.
Other questions or discussion? Thank you. Mr. Olsen, you might as well stay with us because we're going to talk to us about cabin chassis and dump body with diesel engine contract and supply.
Yes, we bid the compressor truck for the street department, the Bureau of Service. We advertised this through BidNet and the Gazette. We had, I believe, 10 people pick up the bid. Several people observed it on BidNet. All of that should be included in your packet, the exact numbers. We ended up with HL Gage as the only bidder at a price of about $88,000 and change, which also should be in your packet. We are recommending the award to them. This would come out of a 2012 capital budget code that has a balance of a little over $117,000, I believe.
Questions? Mr. Olsen.
So is that I think it says 89.9. Does that include the work to put the compressor, is that
Yes,
the total
that's
package?
the total package.
89.9.
This is to replace a 1988 piece of equipment that was purchased in 1988.
How many of this type of equipment do we have throughout the city?
Two.
We currently have two. One's the 88, one's a newer
One
one.
was a newer one that was purchased for the water department. It's a little more extensive a piece of equipment.
Other questions? Mr. Riggi?
This is going to be used for what?
Street department.
The street department.
This truck does cut work.
The cut work.
So when you have a pothole, you have the jackhammer out the hole to be square, or if you have a dig, water or sewer water department handles their own sewer division. When they dig up the street, we have to go in and square the cutout. They do quite a bit of this work.
And that price is there, because I saw another, apparently that was added on, adding on the compressor. Okay. That's complete.
Complete.
Change, okay.
Any other questions? Discussion?
No, I'll move it.
Okay, looking for a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Stay. Discuss recycle program. Not sure how this ended up on the...
I asked to put it on because of that one email that we all received from the woman who's a senior citizen raising concerns about getting the trash out, and that it's icy and that, and I think we sent you, or Chuck sent you the... and whether there's anything we can do to address some of those concerns.
I would recommend for anyone, most appropriately for a senior or anyone with any mobility issues, if it's icy, or what, don't put it out. Wait until you have better weather. Wait until the following week. If you're having a real issue with that, give us a call, and we'll do everything in our power to assist you. By no means should anyone risk life and limb to set that out to the curb. By no means. Ask a neighbor to assist you. If you don't have that type of relationship, don't do it. As far as carts, there are a variety of different carts that a person can purchase. They can be cumbersome. Just because you have a cart doesn't mean you won't fall into yourself trying to wheel it to the curb. So a lot of elderly people in the city use translucent bags for their trash. This is one of the reasons why people say to me all the time, why isn't it required that people have trash cans? Why can't people just put bags to the curb? And this is this is the primary reason. It should be stored in containers in your yard or in your property, but on waste collection day, people are allowed to just bring it out in bags so that they don't have to go and retrieve the container. It was a concern from a number of elderly people when we first worked on the solid waste and recycling ordinance 20 plus years ago.
I know I forwarded her email to you and asked if you knew of any type of cart. She was looking for something that might hold a couple of different containers.
Simple solution.
Run across something,
simple
maybe.
solution, and I'll be happy to call because I did check. And there's a zillion carts. I mean, I don't really want to say I recommend this one or that one, but I'll give her a call. Again, best solution, don't do it. Wait until better weather. And a number of people do that, just that. In fact, if it's really heavy rain or heavy wind, If you put out a stack of cardboard and a heavy wind, chances are it's going to end up
Somewhere else.
yeah, and a lot of people, common sense. I mean, just wait till the following week. Sometimes people can't. Sometimes people have too much. They have to get it out. We're entering that time of year, Christmas, where everybody and their brother puts out the bag that's filled with the wrapping paper. And that's not recyclable, the wrapping paper, and it goes into a bag. And that bag, well, it's, they stuffed it all in there, and it's a large bag, and it weighs about 6 ounces. And you get a little bit of wind, and it ends up going into next week. So, again, usually if they're an elderly person, they don't generate a lot of waste to begin with. By all means, wait till the following week.
Yeah, something terrible happened on Broadway today. There was paper all over the place.
I sent sweeper over there. The
Really bad.
intersection of Broadway and Edison Avenue. Somebody lost a bunch of brochures.
I think the concern from this lady is they're concerned they're going to be fined if they didn't put that was some of the concern in their letter, that they would face a fine if they didn't put recyclables out. I think that was it. So we can get that message out to them that won't be the case. That is certainly
It's nice to know that people have that concern. I wish everyone in the city had that concern.
Yeah, I commended her for it too.
And so obviously she's participating, she's obviously recycling, and obviously we don't want her to get hurt.
I think you've even recommended at times if people don't have enough to wait until they have
it's not
a full.
Yeah, we want everyone to recycle. We want everyone to take a look at the brochure and make a valid effort. But depending on who you are and your living conditions, you may not fill your bin. And again, you may want to bring it out half full. We offer the service every week. It's not necessary for you to participate every week, obviously. But when you have enough material where you want to bring it out, bring it out.
So just a little bit of levity. I have an automatic signature on my iPad that says sent from my Totally Cool iPad. And she has a wonderful sense of humor because when she sent her response back to me, she signed it, sent from my boring, uncool, ancient laptop. Like, that's really cute. Anyway, okay. Thank you, Mr. Olsen. Mr. Weiland, revocable permit number 581, Bread and Roses, LLC, at 325 State Street.
Yep, like you said, revocable permit 581, Bread and Roses LLC. They are the owners and future operators of Mexican Radio on the corner of State Street and Broadway. Sign is 9.5 by 3.5 feet. It is proposed to hang on the corner of the building. There is a very nice rendering in the back and elevation of it. And there are not two signs. This is possibly what they do, what they are selecting, or the other one is one that they might select, just so you know, because I had to clarify that as well. They haven't decided on which one they're going with. The differences are very negligible.
A completely different look in front of that building.
Oh, I see what's there.
Well, on my iPad, I just have to go.
From the building.
Questions, discussion?
No, I'll move it if there's no questions or discussions. Happy to have them down there.
Yes, indeed. Anyone else? I'm looking for a second. Unless there's any questions?
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
More step to Mexican Radio. Mr. Polster, review of the floodplain management through the New York State Department of Environment.
You have in your packet the proposed legislation. Carl went through this. Carl Falotico presented their comments. There were a few comments from the state. This has come back. There are blanks, that minor things that need to be filled in yet. But the public hearing on this is going to be held.
I don't have
It wasn't in the packets because of the size of it. It's the proposed legislation.
I've got a copy here. Anybody?
Okay. We made limited copies of it because it's like 24 pages.
You're having a public hearing on it.
Monday.
Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the holiday.
Yeah. Tuesday. So just passing it out, it's considerably more extensive.
It was emailed to everyone today.
And this will replace what is in the code now.
Questions, comments?
So this is just a call for public. This is
No, you've already called for the public
So
hearing.
this is just giving
No
us the-
actions required.
Prior to the public hearing. Okay. Thank you.
So, do we need to move this? Is this a...
No,
we
this is just information.
There it is. Okay. Any discussion on this before we close government ops? Anything else to come before government ops? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, call to order public service and utilities. Mr. LaFawn, well water supply generator.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The legislative request you have in front of you tonight is for the award of the 2 contracts for the backup generator at the well fields, contract 1E and 1G. There were at least 10 bidders for the 1E and 1 bidder for the 1G. The backup generator will give us auxiliary power in the well fields. We have 1 generator there, capable of running 3 wells currently. This secondary generator will back up that one, give us capacity to run 6 wells at any given time. In conjunction with that one, or 3 independently if that one is down. Because we do provide water to the town of Niskuna. The future for mitigation, supply public or potable water to our residents at the time that there's a power outage or another event like Irene.
Any questions?
Of course.
Mr.
So I just have a couple of questions so I understand. So I think you said that the current backup...
There is a current generator there.
That handles 1 pump?
Handles 3 pumps.
3 pumps, okay.
It is getting a little old.
Okay.
When we did run it the one time, it did fail.
Okay.
So even though it's a backup, it's still a piece of mechanical equipment.
Sure. The store, like the water gets pumped to the kind of I don't know what they call it, but a storage area.
Not all the water. Some of the water goes to the reservoir, and some is directly fed through the distribution mains.
Okay, so it's not fed from the thing on Bolton Road, half of it, you're saying?
Part of it.
Okay.
We have a high-pressure zone that is part of the shared system with Niskuna, and part of our majority of our system comes through our mains and are directly fed out of Force mains. But there is a reservoir there, and part of Niskuna is fed from that reservoir, and some of our low-pressure zone is fed from that reservoir.
Okay. All right. And just so I understand kind of the breakdown, 1E and 1G. So what are each of those? One's 458,000.
1E is the electrical portion. There were 10 bidders on that.
What's encompassed in that?
That is the actual electrical part. Then it will be the generator, all the underground wiring, the transformers, the connections to the pumps, 3 additional wellheads, okay, and the controls for that. So it's all the electrical component, including the actual procurement of the generator itself.
Okay.
The G is the general, which is a smaller portion of the contract, but that would be the site work, pouring the concrete pad. There'll be some sewer lines that have to be moved. There's some fuel lines that have to be moved and then located because there is an old diesel pump in there that doesn't operate, so that has to be removed. So that's part of the general contract.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Nice to see we're able to use somebody from Schenectady.
Yeah, that's one of the things I checked. And the 1G is not there from Glens Falls, but the Schenectady Hardware and Electric. That's the name, Schenectady. Are they Clifton Park?
Well, there's Clifton Park.
Yeah.
Half and half. So they're half of their name is in Schenectady.
Any other questions or discussion?
I'll move it.
Second?
It's for public services. No. Oh, yes, me, yes. Okay. I'm looking at public safety.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Have a good night.
I don't know what I'm doing out there. I wouldn't be able to function.
I know.
Not sure I ever will.
Ever since the lot's changed, I just haven't been able to figure out who's on what committee. Still thinking back to the old one.
So,
Motion
are you adjourned?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
All right, I'll reconvene City Development and Planning, and before we go into executive session, I just need to correct something I did earlier. I moved to approve the DSAD budget. The reality is we've already called for a public hearing next week, so we will officially approve it the following week. So, okay, so I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss the two properties.
So moved.
All right, second. All in favor? Aye. Okay.